Setting your own hours, being your own boss, and working from the couch with the TV on sounds like most people's dream job. The truth is, being a small business owner is a lot harder than it seems. So let's talk about the unfiltered reality behind starting a business. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Victoria and I'm the artist behind Lazy Daisy Creations. I make lots of studio vlog style videos here on YouTube, but also I like to talk about business side of things once in a while. So I'm going to be going over some of the things that no one really talks about when starting a business. These are things that I wish that I knew before I started, so that maybe I wouldn't have made some mistakes or I wouldn't have struggled in a few areas. I've been doing my business full-time for almost 4 years now, and it's been the best job I've ever had. I'm not going to lie, but it still came with lots of challenges that I wasn't really prepared or expected to have. I don't want to discourage you guys from starting a business, but I want to prepare you guys. I want you to come in to your businesses more prepared than I was with mine, so that hopefully you're not going to face the same challenges. So please don't see this as discouraging. I know I'm just going to be talking about bad things in this video, but it's not all bad things. I think we all know what the positives are from being your own boss and starting your own business. That's why we want to do this in the first place. We see all the successful businesses out there, and that's what we want to aim for, and that's great. But no one is talking about the downsides. No one is talking about the struggles and the hardships that come with being a small business owner. So I want you guys to be prepared when you go and eventually start your business, or if you're already in the middle of your business, hopefully you can learn a little bit from my mistakes. So that's what this video is going to be. We're going to be talking about the 10 things that no one tells you about starting a business. And please let me know in the comments if you identify with any of these 10 things, if you've struggled with those, or if you've overcome them, how you overcame them. I would love to know. I'm loving this little community that we are forming here on YouTube. So I really think that we can help each other by being honest and by being realistic. Those are the important things for longevity in your business, in my opinion. So let's get started. We're going to be doing it a little bit differently today because I didn't think you'd want to just sit there and watch me talk. I thought I would work with you guys as I'm talking, as I'm telling you those 10 things. So I'm going to go into voiceover mode now, and you guys can just enjoy and watch me work in real time, and then we'll have a little chat at the end. All right, guys, here are the 10 things that no one tells you about being a business owner. The first one is how lonely it really is. So this is something that you might have some idea about, and it's not, I guess, necessarily just for small business owners, but also those people that work from home. And it is a really big change. If you've never worked from home, or you've never worked for yourself, you've never been self-employed, it's such a big change. And I'm not talking only about the physical loneliness of working, at home or in a studio or something like that, but also the kind of loneliness and pressure that comes with knowing that everything relies on you and everything is on your back to do, all the decisions, all the actions, all the thinking, all the planning. It's a lot for one person to deal with by themselves, and that can feel really lonely when you don't have like a co-worker to bounce ideas with, or like a boss to kind of fix your mistakes when you've done something wrong, or rely on someone with more experience than you to ask for advice in a workplace. It's really easy to be kind of overwhelmed with that big change. And so I think one of the main things that people don't really tell you is truly how lonely it is to be a small business owner. And again, it's not just in the physical sense, but also in the mental sense of how mentally lonely you feel as well. The second thing that I think not many people talk about is how the highs are not so high and the lows are deeper than you could ever have expected. Now, what I mean by that is every time you have a goal that you reach in your business, you think that, reaching that 1,000 sales or earning this much a month, that's what I've been aiming for, that's what I've been working so hard for. And you think that once you get there, then you'll be happy. You would have reached this big thing that you've been trying to achieve. The truth that I found is that when you do reach those high moments, for me at least, they were never that high. I never really felt happy and content. I never really allowed myself to really feel that enjoyment and that happiness that came from reaching a goal that I really wanted, because I feel like there was always something else. So, just to give an example, last year I had a big Taylor Swift Eras inspired collection, and that collection launch ended up being way more successful than I could have ever imagined. And when it came to the launch day, got way more sales than I was expecting, which is crazy and something I should be really, really happy about, right? I think everyone would agree that that's something to be joyful about and happy about. But when I saw those orders rolling in, that specific collection was a bit different because it was a made to order collection. So I didn't have all the pieces pre-made because I didn't really know how, the orders were going to go, and I didn't want to make too much stock. But it ended up going way better than I expected. And as soon as orders started coming in, all I could think of was, oh my God, now I have to go and make all these orders. Like, I don't think I really was able to relax and just enjoy that, the collection launch had been so successful and that everyone really enjoyed all the pieces. All I could think was all the work that was ahead of me, and I didn't feel like I could really enjoy the moment. I couldn't be in the moment. So everything that I had been working for months for that collection culminated on that day, and I felt like I wasn't even happy. I was just feeling stressed and started to like immediately go into work mode rather than just enjoying what all my hard work had given me. So I think that's just a really good example for me that a lot of things that I have thought that were going to bring me that high didn't actually bring me that high. And then the times where things were really difficult or the lows, they were extremely low. And it wasn't something I was prepared to deal with, I guess. You can get so low when things don't go well. And it's really hard to focus on the positives and to get yourself out of that mental space when things are not going well. It's so easy to get consumed by it and think that your business is failing, nothing's going to work. So I think that's one of the things that I wasn't expecting and that I never really heard anyone talk about. Because especially on social media, we see everyone doing so well and everyone's highs, the highlight reel, and everyone being so happy and celebrating their wins. And I don't feel like I've really celebrated my wins as much as I should have or could have. So that's one thing that I really wanted people to start talking more about. All right, the third thing that I think no one tells you is that metrics aren't anything. Everyone is so obsessed with numbers, with follower counts, with subscribers, and although those are good things to have, sure, because it means that people like your products, they're interested in your business. So that, in that sense, it's great. But one thing that I wasn't prepared for, I suppose, starting off in my business is how much, well, I guess how little metrics actually influence anything. I've had the most followers that I've had in my business right now, and right now is the lowest that my business has ever been earning, has ever been making in the 4 years that I've been open. So metrics don't automatically become sales. And maybe that was something that was happening at one point. Like when I started in 2020, I would just post a couple of photos every day and that was it. People were just flocking to my business and were ordering straight away without me having to put that much effort into it. And nowadays, it's so much harder to be seen, even for people that do follow you with the algorithm. especially on Instagram. It's really so much harder now to get eyes on your products. And just because you have a certain amount of followers doesn't mean that you're getting that many sales. Like I always say, I have 30,000 followers on Instagram. I don't have 30,000 sales coming in. So I think something that people don't talk about enough is that businesses that appear to be doing well and appear to have these really good metrics, it doesn't mean that their sales are equally as good. So don't be fooled by people appearing to be successful, because no one wants to seem like they're not, I guess. It's something to aim towards, but it's not something that you should be blindly going towards. You have to have a reason why you want to get these followers. Like, are the followers equals sales to you? Because if they're not, and I've said this before in vlogs, if they're not translating to sales, then you need to stop focusing on that. You need to put your energy towards where your sales are going. For me, for example, my sales are only happening in person. They're only happening at markets. So for me, it doesn't make sense to be quote unquote wasting time on social media right now if it's not paying me, if it's not making me any money. I need to follow where the money is going. That's why I'm leaning more towards YouTube, and I'm just doing markets now, and I've taken a step back from Instagram for the moment. This follows nicely into the next point, that is, you will always feel behind and you will always feel like everyone else is doing more than you. I don't think I've met any business owner that feels like they're really on top of everything, that they've got all their ducks in a row, that they're overly prepared, that they know exactly what they're doing. You'll never feel like you're on top of things. You'll never feel like you're prepared. And that's something that lately I've been sort of understanding more, but it's something that I don't hear many people talking about. The fact that you will always have your sort of competitors or other businesses that you are following. They are always going to seem like they're doing more than you. They're always going to seem like they're more organized than you, that they're on top of everything, that they've got all their collections planned. And that's something that, I've been struggling with, because it's impossible not to feel like that's a personal fault of yours, that you are the one that's disorganized or you're the one that's not on top of things. But to be truthful, you have to understand that everyone is in a different circumstance to you. For me, for example, I'm juggling so many different things at one time. I'm not just working on my polymer clay. I also run a market of my own. I also attend at least 2 markets every week. I also am doing YouTube. There's a lot of things that I'm doing on top of creating collections, or on top of just the polymer clay, that I can't compare myself to someone else that is just focusing all of their time on polymer clay, or that is doing it more so as a hobby and not depending on that money to survive. Because I depend on this money to survive, I can't put all my eggs in that basket. I can't just rely on launch sales to pay my bills. I have to be doing all these other things at the same time. And so I obviously am going to seem like I'm less organized than those people, but the truth is that we are doing completely different things. Or, comparing to myself, someone with kids would not be able to do the same amount that I'm doing. I don't have kids, so I have more freedom in that sense. So we really can't compare each other, which is hard. It's hard. I know it's hard, but we can't compare, or we can't keep chasing this feeling that we finally have organized ourselves. We are finally going to be on top of things. The truth is, you're never going to feel that way. So don't let that stop you from just doing it. Do it badly, fail at it, but at least do it, because you're never going to feel like it's the right time. You're never going to feel like you're there. I know for sure that's something that I'm feeling right now, and I'm definitely working on it. And that's something that no one ever told me when I started. That's something I still don't hear people talking about. And I feel like it's something that is maybe something to aim for, but I don't think it's an achievable goal. A lot of these are very sort of related, but the next thing that I don't feel that anyone tells you before starting a business is how quickly you can forget that you wanted this more than anything. I think it kind of ties in a little bit to the first few points that I've made, but I think it's so easy once you're a business owner, and especially once you're a full-time business owner, to forget that this is exactly what you were chasing for so long. This is exactly where you wanted to be for so long. It's so easy to just get caught up on all the little problems, in all the to-do lists, and all the things that you need to achieve and that you need to work on, and forget that this is the life. This is what you wanted, and to really take a step back to enjoy it. I don't think the 4 years that I've been self-employed, I have not been able to really take a step back and realize that, wow, this is all I've ever wanted, right? This is what I wanted more than anything. And now that it's here, all I'm doing is stressing about these little things. Sure, they are important, but taking a step back and looking at the big picture, it's so easy to forget that this is the place where you needed to be with every fiber of your being, that you wanted to leave everything else to do this. This is definitely something that no one told me was going to happen. No one told me that I was going to forget this big dream that I had for the little everyday issues, and how those would become so important that I would lose sight of the big picture. The next point that I wanted to talk about is no one really talks about the toxic parts of being a small business owner. What I mean is, there's a lot of people trying to take advantage of other people out there. And it seems that with small business owners, because you are the face of the business, because people know you and see you as a person rather than as a business, I never expected as I started my business to have to deal with so many people trying to take advantage, from little things to big things. I've had to deal with so many people trying to get free products or trying to get a refund when they are the ones that broke the product or something like that. And because they know that you're a person, that you're the face of the business, when they message you, they try to manipulate you, they try to say different things, and that's something I wasn't ready for, I wasn't prepared for. And I know a few people do talk about it, but I wasn't really expecting it, or didn't know how to really deal with it. And also the way that people treat you differently than big businesses. I feel like 99% of these cases that I'm talking about, of these people, they would never do these same things or demand these same things or talk this same way to a bigger business than they do with you. It's kind of insane. Like, I always think to myself, would you try to return this product to, say, Kmart, if you knew that you broke it yourself, or that your child broke it, or that your dog ate it? Like, there's some things that it goes kind of beyond comprehension. People wouldn't do these things for any other business, but if you're a small business, they do it to you. That's something I'm still trying to deal with and trying to understand why people behave this way. And I honestly still do not understand. And, tying to this point, but just something else, is the fact that people always think that you're at their disposal as well. So the same kind of thing, that because you are the face of the business, they always feel like you're just ready to go and to answer all their questions and to attend to their every need at any moment. That's something that I wasn't prepared for, and something that no one really tells you before you start, that you always have to be on. You always have to be available for customers, and that you won't be appreciated for being on call essentially the entire time. I had someone message me the other day saying that one of her necklaces that she bought from me broke. So I already go a bit skeptic into these conversations because if people don't immediately like send me a photo or tell me what happened, I go in a bit suspicious because if it was a product fault, then people usually approach it in a different way. But when people come in just saying, oh, this broke, can you offer a refund? And don't show any proof or don't explain what happened. So anyway, with this specific case, I had to then ask what happened and if she could send me photos so I could know how to fix the situation. And so she did send me. And it was just the jump ring from her necklace, between the necklace and the clasp, had broken. And when I asked her how it happened, she admitted that she broke it herself. She pulled on the necklace accidentally and it broke. Now, this is not a product fault. This is customer fault. So I said, oh, this is a very minor issue that I can easily solve. Next time I'm at such and such market, just bring it in and I'll fix it for you. And then she continued on saying, oh, I'm just so upset because it was my favorite necklace and I wore it every day, yada, yada. And so I said to her, I'm like, well, this is a very small issue. If you have pliers at home or anything like that, you could honestly just fix it yourself if you wanted to. And so she then said, no, I don't have any pliers. I don't have anything to fix it. And then I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just bring it into the next market. Maybe an assumption, but I could tell that she wanted me to post it to her, but in my head I'm like, no, I'll fix it at the market if needed. And anyway, a little bit after that, she messaged again saying that she'd fixed it, that she found pliers or something and she fixed it. And then I said, oh, that's great news. I'm glad it was an easy fix. And I would have assumed in a polite conversation, she would have, I guess, apologized or said something like, thank you for your help or appreciate you offering to fix it. But just absolutely no response. No, thank you, nothing. So it's a bit frustrating. And it's one of the things that I wasn't expecting because I've had a lot of retail experience, but I've never been personally connected to the products and the sales. So I've never really cared that much. But being on this other side where every sale, every product, I know that has been touched by my hands and I know that I've put all the love and care that I possibly can, and then have people kind of treat you really badly or try to take advantage, it's really, really disappointing. And it's something that I didn't know coming in. I've never heard anyone talk about. So that's something else. The seventh thing that no one tells you before starting a business is how much you're going to miss someone else telling you what to do. Now, this is not something I ever expected to miss, but it kind of ties into the first point that I made, and that is that you are the one that has to do every single part of your business, everything, every single thing. So all the decisions are up to you, all the actions are up to you, all the successes are going to be on you, but also all the failures are going to be on you. If you didn't allocate your time properly, if you weren't organized enough, if you didn't predict trends correctly, if you didn't post enough on social media, or if you didn't post correctly, or if you didn't do a million different things, it's always going to fall on your shoulders. So I think this is something that once you've been self-employed for a little while, this is when this point starts to really hit home. And that's because you get to a point where you get decision fatigue, right? And there's just too many things to think about all at once. And you kind of wish, or at some points, I wish that I had someone just to tell me what to do, just to tell me what to focus on first, what to invest my money on, what to do with my time, what to prioritize, what to focus on. That you don't have anyone else with experience to ask unless you're very lucky and you have other small business friends that have been doing this for a while to kind of go to for advice. But most likely you won't. At least I didn't. And you kind of sometimes wish that you were back in a workplace where you had that boss to tell you what to do. And that's kind of crazy because it's not something I ever thought I would be hearing myself say. But for some decisions, it's really nice to not be the person responsible for it. And it's nice to just follow instructions rather than having to think through every little thing. This is definitely one that snuck up on me. It's not something that I was really expecting to say. The next point is the degree to which you only get back what you put in. And that is, I think, something that we go into small business knowing, but I don't think unless you've done it for a while, you really understand what that really means. At least for me, I haven't in 4 years gotten to a point where I can just sit back and relax and that the sales will just come. That I don't really have to think about where my money is coming from this month, or, I don't have to worry about if a launch goes well or not. I think we all get kind of brainwashed a little bit with social media, thinking that you will get to a point in your business where you just lay back and things will happen automatically. But from what I found personally and what I've seen other small businesses around me, you never really get to that point. And if you don't really have a team that is helping you, it becomes very exhausting because you have to kind of fight for every sale. You have to fight for any little bit of recognition. You have to fight for being recognized in your field. You have to fight for your place in that niche, right? You have to always be on top of things and be trendy, but be unique and be ahead of the curve, but also feeding what your current customers want. And nothing really becomes passive or easy or laid back. I feel like that is something that I expected to happen at some point, and so far it hasn't. Honestly, do believe that it won't really happen if I want to be a one-woman show. I don't really want to expand to the point where I have employees or like a big team. So if I'm going to be a one-woman show, I will always have to be pushing for sales and marketing my stuff. And no matter how many followers you have, subscribers you have, you will always have to be putting in the work to get something back. Nothing will come passively. Nothing will come automatically. I think that's a really big thing that people believe. And like I said, I believed that as well. Tying in from the last point, we have a little pattern here. Number 9 is that you have to be good at everything. This is not something that I think we've been told enough. I think some people scratch the surface about talking about this, but they don't dig deep into what that actually means. So I'm talking about you have to be good at marketing, finances, organization, social media, sales, photography, website building, networking. You have to be a salesperson. There's so many things that are involved in being a small business owner, and you have to be good at everything. You can't have a really good product, for example, but then not be good at photography, or you can't be great at photography but bad at social media marketing. You kind of have to become an expert in every single field just to be able to sell one type of product. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because it's kind of impossible to be good at so many things at once. It's a lot of pressure that comes from having to constantly learn things and teach yourself things, that, going back to that point that I made before, to feel like you're never good enough, feel like everyone else is always better. But that's because you have to wear so many hats. It's impossible to be good at everything. And I guess this is something that I thought would come naturally and that eventually everything would fall into place, but it's something that I still struggle because I'm not an expert at any of these fields. I'm not a trained photographer. I didn't study marketing, so it's really hard constantly having to educate yourself and be on top of trends and be on top of social media and stuff like that. It's really, really hard. And I don't see enough people talking about this. I see people talking broadly about, oh, I wear all the hats in my business. Yes, we understand. But what does that mean? What toll does that really take on a person to have to wear all these hats? It's kind of crazy because you have to be thinking of so many things at the same time. If I'm making something, I have to be thinking of the next collection or the next post of my next YouTube video. It's so overwhelming and not something that I heard anyone talk about to me before I started. My last point is multiple income streams. It seems like that's something everyone is talking about, but I don't know if it's something that we really understand what that means. I think what it appears to be from the outside, if you're not someone that is having to have multiple income streams, is that it looks like you have multiple passive incomes that you set up one time and then the income just rolls in, and that you can collect from all these different areas instead of just relying on one thing. And the truth is that it's not exactly like that. Like, yes, you do have all these multiple income streams, but what people don't talk about is that you need to then work for every single one of those income streams to bring income. It's something that you can rarely be passive about. It's rarely something that you can just set up and then not ever think about again. It's something that is adding to your plate. In my case, for example, it means I'm an artist. I'm a retail assistant, so I'm a salesperson. I'm also now a content creator. I'm an editor. I'm a photographer. It's so many things that I need to be focusing on and creating and making decisions about, so that those multiple income streams are providing the income. They don't provide it passively, like I feel like a lot of people want to claim is possible. Even the most passive incomes still require work. So it's really that you're dividing yourself into all these different job descriptions, and you have to work multiple jobs instead of just one. So this is something that is really hard, and something that no one really talks about and no one really tells you before starting a business, is that yes, you're going to have multiple income streams, but you're going to have to work even more to be able to actually take income from those streams, if that makes sense. It's something that I thought was going to be a lot more passive than it actually is. And although it is possible to have multiple income streams, it's not as easy as it seems. Alright guys, thank you so much for sticking around till the end of the video. I hope you guys found it interesting. I would love to know which point struck a chord with you and which one you are currently struggling with, if you are at all. And let's build a community that helps each other with all these little challenges of being small business owners. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, and stick around to watch lots of small business content on my channel. And until the next one, I'll see you then. Bye.